He lifted his drink with the casual arrogance of a man who believed the world was his playground, crystal tumbler in hand. Pinky raised just so, the kind of gesture rich men use when they want everyone to know they were born into privilege. His voice slid out smooth and sharp, dripping with that kind of condescension, reserved for those who've never had a fist meet their jaw. "Why don't you cut ties with my wife?" he asked, that smug smile playing on his lips. I smiled back, but it wasn't the warmth he expected. It was cold and tight, like the silent warning that clenched my jaw just enough to hide the real threat behind my teeth. "Sure," I said softly. "I'll handle it." He had no clue I already had Julia. We used to be inseparable, college sweethearts who dreamed loud and big on nothing but ramen noodles and secondhand mattresses. While I chased melodies through smoky lounges, fingers dancing over piano keys. She kept us grounded, juggling bills, taxes, and the vision of a future only we could see. Her structure balanced my chaos. Her clarity shaped my passion into harmony. I proposed beneath flickering streetlights after a midnight gig, sweaty, broke, and deliriously hopeful. She said yes before I could finish the question. We had nothing but each other, and I trusted her with everything, especially my money. Then everything changed. Money came rushing in. Licensing deals, 1 track in a hit film, then 2, then a buyout from a streaming giant that suddenly put a few too many zeros behind my name. A loft in Tribeca, a lake house in Vermont. I was on tour when she met him, Brandon Whitaker, a finance shark with an NBA smile and eyes that could cut through steel. He worked at the same bank where Julia had just been promoted to CFO. I found out 6 months later. Divorce papers slipped on the green room table moments before I went on stage. Clean, clinical, irreconcilable differences. Differences I didn't even know existed. I didn't fight. That was my first mistake. Or so they thought. The first time I saw them together was at a gallery opening. Her hand resting on his arm like she'd been born to hold it. He spotted me immediately, sneered, and said, "Didn't expect to see you here. Thought this crowd might be too highbrow for a guy with calluses." He chuckled, but she didn't even flinch. It wasn't the insult that cut deepest. It was how invisible I suddenly felt. The man who believed she'd hold his hand to the very end, now a ghost in her new life. Curiosity pushed me, not jealousy. I started digging. The bank Brandon worked for managed my assets. Julia was CFO. Brandon headed private wealth management. I never cared about the numbers before. Trusted her to sign the papers without question. But now I saw the cracks. Funds siphoned off, rerouted into shadowy shell companies. Losses masked behind fake volatility. It wasn't just personal. It was theft. I didn't confront them. Not yet. I played the long game, moving like a shadow. Hired forensic accountants. Built a trail. Months of dinners, trips, overpriced expenses, all recorded, tracked, cross-referenced. My guy monitored Brandon's phone, cracked encrypted emails Julia thought were foolproof. I waited. The annual Investor Gala, the bank's crown jewel event. Black ties, champagne towers, PR cameras flashing like gunfire. They didn't expect me. I watched from the mezzanine as Julia took the stage for her keynote speech. Brandon stood behind her, hand resting possessively on her lower back, like he owned her. I dialed my lawyer's number. "Do it," I said. Within seconds, the back $700 million in their accounts vanished from Whitaker Bancorp's ledgers, transferred, liquidated, hidden across 3 continents and 6 holding companies. By the time Julia hit slide 3, alarms blared in the back offices. Brandon's phone buzzed again and again. He looked at her, panic seeping through his polished smile. Then his eyes caught mine, calm and unwavering from across the room. Julia stumbled over her words, her confidence crumbling. "Something's wrong," I asked, stepping forward. Brandon stormed over, furious. "What the hell did you do?" "Just cutting ties," I replied, voice low and steady. He lunged for me, but security blocked his path before he could reach. Eyes everywhere, cameras rolling. The fallout was nuclear. The board demanded answers Julia couldn't give. Brandon had signed off on most of the fraudulent transactions. Fraud, by every legal definition. My lawyers filed lawsuits within the hour, not for the money, but for principle and the public record. She tried to call, left voicemails. I don't know what happened. Can we talk? You owe me. All unanswered. I owed her nothing. Weeks later, I watched from across a cafe as Brandon was escorted out of the bank, box in hand, suit rumpled. He caught my eye but said nothing, just kept walking. Julia resigned quietly, signed a non-disclosure agreement, and disappeared. Her name, once printed proudly on annual reports, is now whispered only as a cautionary tale. I live quietly now, still play music, but no more stages, just my private studio, a Steinway, and a dog named Justice. Sometimes I wonder if they truly love each other. Sometimes I don't. She thought I was just a musician. He thought I was beneath them. They forgot one thing. I know how to read silence. I know how to let tension coil and tighten. I know the moment before the drop, the breath before the crash. And I always deliver the final note. Quietly, precisely, beautifully, like revenge played in perfect pitch.